All right, I am so excited to introduce our guest speaker here to share a little bit about her experience coding, and then we can ask her some questions about what it means to be a computer scientist and the experiences that she had. We have Ademusoyo here to share her experience with us. She is a software engineer who is an expert in marketing and branding. She supports entrepreneurs to strategically grow their business and increase their impact on their communities. We are so excited to have you with us. Go ahead, and I'm going to pass it over to you, and you can share a little bit about what you do as a computer scientist.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here, and thanks for watching for those who are watching this recording right now. So my name is Ademusoyo. I'm a senior software engineer as well as a technical lead at a company called Wistia, which is a video marketing company for small businesses. And there I'm working on leading a team focused on building out different third-party integrations with the app that specifically allows our customers to generate new leads through their video marketing efforts. My journey to becoming a software engineer is actually quite traditional and boring, to be honest. I studied computer engineering at the University of Pittsburgh. From there, I got my first job in New York City, where I worked at a company called Goldman Sachs, which is a financial services company. I worked on a bunch of different teams there, but specifically, my last team that I was on was supporting our private equity business, which is just like the people who buy and like help companies with funding and things like that. So I was building different apps and reporting tools for them. I then went on and moved to a new company called MailChimp, which is an email marketing company. And there I was still continuing to work on developing new product features that existed in the app that people are able to use today. My last project was working on making like a multi-channel marketing platform so that our customers would be able to plan and organize and track how their campaigns were doing across different media types and different days. And then after that, I ended up at Wistia, which is where I am currently. I think for me, being a software engineer is a never-ending learning process. It never surprises me that the fact that the stuff that I learned when I was in undergrad are still very much applicable today. And I'm constantly referencing those like foundational things that I've learned, even though I've worked across multiple different languages and across plenty of different tech stacks. That foundational knowledge is still the same. I also think that one thing about being a software engineer is that you start to see the same things the longer you are in the industry. So while it may seem hard at first when you're just starting out and it just seems like there's just so much to learn, eventually you'll build up your tool belt to be able to recognize different patterns or different ideas that will enable you to be able to grow your career as well as take on more leadership responsibilities. So for anyone who is feeling very discouraged, I encourage you to keep going because it does get better. And yeah, I think that's it. That's all. I'll give that little blurb and then I'll leave some room for questions.
Yeah, that's so great. Thank you so much for sharing your what a journey you've been on. I feel like you've been to a bunch of different companies and worked a lot of different like roles as a software engineer, which is very cool to hear about. I do have just a couple of questions for you. So what do you think has been the most challenging aspect of programming or computer science as a whole, or your journey?
Yeah, I think it's honestly, I would say it's knowing what to look for. I feel like software engineering is so theoretical, and when you think about the internet now, like different like code, which is pretty binary, like leads to all of this other stuff and it's building so many cool things that we use today. It can be very, very overwhelming to think about it. And as also technology keeps advancing, we as technologists have to make sure that we're at least up to date or familiar with the technologies being used in order to make good decisions about whether or not we should use them or not use them. So I think the constant learning is sometimes the most difficult because it always presents a new challenge. And the more senior you are, the less there is on the internet about how to actually do what you want to do. So that requires a lot of you to kind of trust yourself and really trust that you've learned enough to really help you get to this point in order to help you make the decision that needs to be made. hopefully that answers your
Awesome.
question.
Yes, yeah, that was a fantastic answer. I love that. And then do you have a favorite program or project that you worked on? If so, can you tell us a little bit about it and why you liked it?
Yeah, I think my favorite project I worked on was at my last job. It was the multi-channel campaign builder, and I really liked it because it was improving something that already existed within the company. It was also something that was very measurable. So I like to work on projects that I feel like we'll be able to not only do the thing, but see how the thing is performing. It was also my first opportunity as being a tech lead. So I learned a lot about how to grow as a leader, how to continue to mentor junior engineers, how to work with like product managers and project managers and other senior leadership people. So it taught me a lot. So I think that's probably why it's my favorite project.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. And I think that's a really good point to highlight that, you're programming, but you're also using other skills beyond that. So using those life skills and collaboration and working with others and things like that. Awesome. Okay, I do have one more question with you. Thank you so much for your time. You gave some advice earlier about sticking with it. It gets a little bit easier, that type of thing. Do you have any other advice for students who are pursuing a computer science career, or even students who might not be pursuing a computer science career?
Yeah, I would say like go where you find the most support. So I feel like a lot of times we can get caught up in these like really big ideas or really big thoughts about what we want to do. But I found that in the world where of software engineering or the tech industry where things are so difficult and there's a lot of bureaucracy and things like that, just finding pockets of people who you know are supporting you, who would be advocating for you just as much as you're advocating for yourself will make all that much of a difference and as you continue to grow your career as well as advance your career.
Awesome. That's such great advice. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us at CodeHS, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to be here. Thank you.
All right.